The American people may be a little confused about what reconciliation means. As you know, Mr. President, the reconciliation bill is just a budget bill. That's all it is. It deals with spending of taxpayer money. And why is it important? Well, first, it's going to be important to try to lower the prices that are gutting the American people like a fish.
Fellow Americans, patriots, and defenders of freedom, welcome back to the Republican Forum channel. If you care about your wallet, your family's future, and the very soul of this country, you need to buckle up. Because today, we're diving into a no-holds-barred breakdown of a powerful message from Senator John Kennedy. And folks, he said what many of us have been thinking. If we don't act now, we're looking at a $4.3 trillion tax increase. Yes, you heard that right. Not million, not billion, trillion. Before we jump in, smash that like button, subscribe, and share this video with every hardworking American you know who's sick and tired of the government treating our paychecks like a piggy bank for their big government fantasies.
President Biden's inflation was simply pernicious. I don't know of another word for it. It got to the point, I don't know about in your state, but in my state, you know, people shouldn't have to sell blood plasma to be able to go to the grocery store. They shouldn't. And make no mistake, we all know this, those high prices were man-made. And again, no disrespect, but that man's name was Joe Biden. And that's true. The first goal of our reconciliation bill is to try to help get those prices down. Now, how we're going to do that? Number one, we're going to reduce government spending. Why does that matter? Well, how did we get the inflation? We got the inflation because President Biden's favorite form of spending was more. I said many times, if the White House during the President Biden's term had discovered life on Mars, they would have sent it money immediately. And it was all this money that they injected into the economy, trillions of dollars, the Inflation Reduction Act and the American Rescue Plan. They spent all this money, had all this money that came into the economy chasing too few goods, created demand, supply constant, and we had inflation. So we're going to try to get those prices down, we meaning this Congress, by reducing the government spending, which will reduce the stimulus to the economy, which if we do it right ought to lower interest rates. That's step one that we're going to try to achieve in reconciliation. The second part of reconciliation, we're going to continue to try to reduce the rules and regulations. All these rules and regulations have a price. And when you're adding $2 trillion in costs that fall on the backs of businesswomen and businessmen, to stay in business, they've got to pass the costs of all those rules and regulations on to the consumer. So if we can get rid of some of these rules and regulations, like we're going to continue to do in a few minutes when we vote on the rule to get rid of the Biden rule I just talked about, if we can reduce the cost of reduce those rules and regulations, goods and services will cost less. The third thing we're going to try to do in reconciliation, or our budget bill, if you prefer that term, is redesign the tax code so that it looks like somebody designed it on purpose. Since 1990, average GDP growth in America has been 2% a year. Now that's just not acceptable. When we hit 2.5% now, GDP growth, we're so happy we want to go have a toga party. 2.5% is not acceptable. We've got to start growing again at a normal rate, used to be normal for America, of 3%. Now how are we going to do that? We're going to do that by encouraging businesswomen and businessmen to invest in their businesses and grow their businesses and hire more people. And the byproduct of that is that wages will go up. And that way people will be making more money. So they'll be able to afford this inflation that President Biden left with us. So the first goal of reconciliation is to try to reduce these prices, to try to kill inflation dead. But there's a second, equally, some would say more important reason. As you well know, Mr. President, in 2017, this Congress, during President Trump's first term, passed the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. We cut taxes by $4.3 trillion. And boy, did it work. The economy took off like a SpaceX rocket ship. Within a year, median household income in America had gone up $4,400. And people at the lower end of the wage scale enjoyed more tax benefits and more money in their pocket than people at the other end. That's why I have to laugh when my Democratic colleagues say, well, you know, this was a tax cut for the rich. No. All you have to do is look at the data. Unless you do your research on Twitter, you know that it helped people at the lower end of the wage scale more than those at the upper end. That's the good news. The bad news is that those tax cuts expire at the end of this year. So we're going to try to extend them and make them permanent in our reconciliation bill. And if we don't, then we're going to have a $4.3 trillion tax increase on the American people. $4.3 trillion. I want you to think about that, Mr. President, when some of our colleagues try to throw up roadblocks to our reconciliation bill. In effect, what they're saying is they want to raise taxes on the American people by $4.3 trillion. That's the most important thing we'll do in our reconciliation bill. It's not the only important thing, as I mentioned, but it's clearly the most important thing. If we raise taxes right now, $4.3 trillion on the American people, this economy will begin a journey to the center of the earth. We cannot let it happen. Now, I don't want to minimize the importance of the role that reconciliation will play in lowering prices and lowering inflation. That's important. But worse than inflation is depression. And if we don't extend these tax cuts and make them permanent, we're going to be in a depression. And that's really what the reconciliation bill is all about.
That one line hit me like a freight train. He's not wrong. Look around your community. Look at the gas pumps, the grocery aisles, your electricity bills. This inflation, it's not an accident. It didn't fall out of the sky. It was engineered by reckless spending and socialist-style economic policies under Joe Biden and the radical left. They printed money like it was monopoly cash. They rammed through so-called rescue plans that only rescue bureaucracy and bloated government, while real Americans were left behind. And now, they want you to pay for it, again, by letting the Trump tax cuts expire. Let me be real clear about this, folks. If we let those cuts lapse, the American people will be hit with the largest tax hike in our nation's history. For $0.3 trillion, that's not about soaking the rich. That's about gutting the working class, squeezing small businesses, and draining the lifeblood from our economy. And what for? So the Biden administration can keep funding green pipe dreams, equity consultants, and endless handouts? No thanks. Senator Kennedy made 3 solid points, and I'm here to echo them loud and clear. Number 1, we have to stop the spending. You don't fight inflation with more spending. You don't put out a fire with gasoline. But that's exactly what the Democrats have been doing. Every time they have a crisis, their answer is the same. Spend more, borrow more, tax more. We need discipline. We need restraint. And we need leaders like Kennedy who are willing to say enough is enough. Number 2, slash the red tape. Kennedy's right. Small businesses are drowning in federal rules and regulations. Every dollar they spend complying with DC's madness is a dollar they don't spend hiring people, growing, or innovating. That's not just bad policy. It's un-American. If you've ever tried to open a business in this country, you know the truth. The government isn't here to help you. It's here to control you. Number 3, make the Trump tax cuts permanent. Now listen, the left loves to scream tax cuts for the rich. But let's look at the facts. After those cuts passed in 2017, median household income rose $4,400 in just 1 year. That's real money for real people. And the poorest Americans saw the biggest percentage increase in take-home pay. That's not trickle-down. That's bottom-up prosperity, and it happened because we let Americans keep more what they earn. But here's the catch. Those tax cuts are set to expire. And if Congress doesn't act, Biden's IRS will come for all of us. Your paycheck? Smaller. Your business? Strangled. Your savings? Vanishing. That's not just bad economics. That's a one-way ticket to recession, or worse, a depression. And Kennedy is right. If we raise taxes right now, this economy will begin a journey to the center of the earth. That's not hyperbole. That's a warning shot. So here's my message to every senator, every congressman, every bureaucrat in Washington. You work for U.S., not for global elites, not for the climate cartel, not for the DI industrial complex, for U.S., the American people. Keep your hands off our money. Extend the tax cuts. Slash the waste. Cut the regulations. And get the hell out of the way. Look, I don't pretend to be a politician. I'm just a God-fearing, freedom-loving American who's tired of watching this country get robbed blind by the people who swore to protect it. Senator Kennedy is sounding the alarm. Let's not wait until we're standing in bread lines to start paying attention. If you're with me, hit that like button, comment, and no more tax hikes below, and make sure you're subscribed. This channel is about keeping the truth alive. No spin, no censorship, just American grit. Until next time, stand strong, speak truth, and never apologize for being a proud patriot. God bless you. God bless Senator Kennedy. And God bless the United States of America.